Antonio starts right now.
Our top story tonight, people across the United States and around the world are reacting to the death of former Cuban leader Fidel Castro. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Darian Trotter.
And I'm Jocelyn Tovar. Thank you for joining us. Cuban state television announced his death at the age of 90, but no cause of death was immediately released. Castro's reign in Cuba spanned more than 4 decades. He came to power on New Year's Day in 1959 when his forces swept into Havana, ousting a U.S.-backed dictator. He quickly proclaimed his Marxist beliefs and formed a close alliance with the Soviet Union, later orchestrating the greatest nuclear crisis in the world that ended with the Soviets pulling their missiles from Cuba. Now, as conditions in Cuba worsened, thousands began to leave, risking their lives on the 90-mile trip to the United States. As time passed, Castro began to show his age, falling and breaking his knee and arm. He turned over power to his brother Raul in 2008. Here in the U.S., one senator says there is no real joy for him today.
But today I find no real joy. Too many families have been torn apart, too many killed and imprisoned, too many tortured, too many hungry, a nation destroyed, and millions enslaved.
And in Cuba, students at the University of Havana chanted, "I am Fidel," as they honored the leader. Students organized the rally and gathered around Cuban flags. Cuba was declared 9 days of mourning, and a burial ceremony will be held on December 4th.
Meantime, here in the U.S., people gathered in Miami to celebrate Fidel Castro's death. Hundreds gathered in the Little Havana neighborhood. People also marched in the streets waving Cuban flags. In a statement today, President Obama says Fidel Castro's death, quote, fills Cubans in Cuba and in the United States with powerful emotions, recalling the countless ways Fidel Castro altered the course of individual lives, families, and of the Cuban nation. The Cuban people must know that they have a friend and partner in the United States.
Fidel Castro's death is also stirring reaction here at home. News 4 San Antonio's Camila Rimbaldi talked to several Cuban Americans about their thoughts on the future.
At La Rumba, Tony Utra prepares the traditional Cuban sandwich.
The Cuban sandwich, bora.
After learning about Fidel Castro's death,
I celebrate today.
He is optimistic about the future.
Transition for.
In other news developing right now, police are investigating whether 3 men found injured outside a strip club and 1 man found dead in an apartment complex parking lot are connected. It happened just after 2 this morning on Loop 410 near Vance Jackson outside Vanity Factory. Police say they found 1 man on one side of the building suffering from a gunshot wound and found 2 other men on the other side of the building severely beaten. All 3 men were taken to the hospital in critical condition. Police believe a man found shot to death at an apartment complex on Huebner may be connected with the incident outside the strip club. That man was found at the Ventana apartment on Huebner near I-10 around 2:30 this morning. Police found him in the back of the parking lot. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Police are still investigating those 2 incidents.
And a woman is facing charges tonight after a rollover crash killed a passenger in her car. It happened on Sahara Drive near San Pedro around 2:30 this morning. Police say the woman, her brother, and 1 other passenger were together when she lost control of the car, jumped a curb, went through the courtyard of an apartment complex, and flipped into a ditch. A passenger in the back seat was ejected and died at the scene. Officers say the woman driving the car was intoxicated, and she will be charged with a DWI and intoxicated manslaughter. And a woman is in the hospital tonight after she was hit by a car on the city's west side. It happened on Culebra near Petrenko. Police say the woman was crossing in the middle of the street when a car hit her. The driver of the car told police he never saw her. She was taken to University Hospital in critical condition. The driver is not facing charges.
And police are searching for a hit-and-run driver who is accused of hitting a man on the city's south side. It happened on South Flores Street and Tommins Avenue near Division. Police say the man was picking up cans in the middle of the street when he was hit. He was taken to University Hospital in critical condition.
Family members and volunteers are continuing to search for Maria Llamas. Llamas has been missing since Sunday, November 20th. Over Thanksgiving, the search intensified with dozens of people gathered to help search for the missing woman. Officials say she suffers from Alzheimer's. She was last seen at the Petite Flea Market on Highway 16. Llamas is 5'2", weighs 120 pounds. If you have any information, you're asked to call SAPD's Missing Persons Unit at 207-7660 or the Heidi Search Center at 650-0428.
The Esperanza is offering an alternative to retail shopping this weekend at the Peace Market. More than 100 international and local artists are selling one-of-a-kind hand goods, including rugs, pottery, textiles, and paintings in the market. Purchases from the Peace Market will go toward continuing the struggle for peace and justice in San Antonio. Live music and food, including, of course, tamales, will be available for purchase and admission is free. The market will be open again tomorrow from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m.
The La Villita Historic Arts Village and Historic Market Square were open today for Small Business Saturday. This is the second year that Market Square and La Villita will be participating in Small Business Saturday, and there's still time for you to head out today. They're going to be closing at 7 p.m. In addition to the market, there will be a live celebration taking place in Market Square throughout the evening, featuring live music, arts, crafts, and food booths.
Coming up, joining the recount, why Clinton's campaign says they're joining forces with Jill Stein in the push for a recount in 3 different states.
Plus, the search for a missing boy ends in tragedy, where officials